We are officially less than a month away from the return of Cavs basketball. And while much hasn't changed since the last time I did a video, I figured I'd drop in real quick and share my thoughts on a few things that did happen, as well as provide a little roadmap for what to expect on the channel moving forward. So let's start right there. My plans are pretty simple. Right now, it's not the best time to be uploading NBA content. We have been in the worst part of the offseason where quite literally nothing is happening, and everyone is focused on football. By the way, Browns fans, I feel your pain. Listen, I've always been a casual football fan, but even I felt the sting of last night, so I hope everyone's doing okay. And my point here is that we've been in the driest part of the NBA cycle for a few weeks now, and we still have a few more weeks before we get out of it, so that's why there hasn't been too much content being uploaded to my channel. There's just not much for me to talk about. But don't worry, because I do plan, or at least I hope, to have a series of videos all coming out around the time preseason starts, and from there we'll be grinding out content all season, so this is my quick reminder to anyone watching. If you aren't subscribed, please consider doing so, as it helps out my channel quite a lot and it'll help you to make sure you don't miss out on any of the videos or podcast episodes coming out soon. And then to wrap up my self-promo here real quick before we get into the actual video, let me also say the Junkyard Pod is now the official Cleveland Cavalier podcast of Blue Wire Pods, and we have joined under the Write Down Euclid podcast network. So we no longer show up as the Junkyard Pod, but rather we are under the Write Down Euclid podcast feed, but don't worry, it's not as confusing as it sounds. All you have to do is hit the link in the description and you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It really means a lot and it helps more than you realize. And of course, I have to say thank you for all of the support over the last year and a half since I started this channel. It's been such a fun experience, and I think my content has only been getting better with time, so let's keep this momentum going and get right into today's little update. 1. The Cavs have officially signed veteran Tristan Thompson, bringing him back to the land for another go-around. 2. The Cavs have announced their full coaching staff, which is full of new faces. 3. We have confirmation that Emoni Bates, JT Thor, and Luke Travers are the ones who will occupy all 3 two-way spots. That means no more Isaiah Mobley. So for all those who are still holding on to their Mobley stock, I think you might want to start filing for bankruptcy because that dream looks like it's dead. And 4th, most importantly, Donovan Mitchell was seen nailing strikes in keg bowling before the Browns game in a devastating blow to Tim Bontemps, who, as far as I know, has never bowled a strike in keg bowling. So it's been a tough summer for our boy Bontemps. The Hoop Collective pod is actually coming to Akron this week, so if anyone saw this, Brian Windhorst, Tim Bontemps, and their third guy, McMahon, he's coming to Akron for a live show, and I'd like the record to show that I asked Jackson to join me at this show so we could meet Brian, and Jackson told me that he couldn't go because he was busy. So I then made my own plans for something else that day, and now Jackson is available and might be going on his own. So all this to say, I think it's obvious that Jackson just wanted some alone time with Brian and didn't want me to be included. So anyways, if any of you are going to the Hoop Collective live show, then I hope you have a great time, and please tell Tim Bontemps that Cavs Nation would actually like to give him an opportunity to apologize for his behavior. We can put this all in the past and move on. It's really up to him to extend that bridge and join us before it's too late. Back to the Cavs news. Tristan Thompson returning it's okay. I'm not mad at it. There aren't that many backup options available, none of which that are clear upgrades in the front court over Thompson in my opinion. So I know that TT is obviously very limited in what he can provide at this stage in his career, and it's a little frustrating that the Cavs front office has set their sights so low this offseason. I mean, this is basically the same exact roster running it back once again, but Thompson has been far and away the best backup big that this team has had in recent years, and while that's not ideal, it's the truth. Thompson was serviceable for short stretches last year, and really, just to summarize my thoughts, they could do a lot worse than a former NBA champion, so I'm not mad that Thompson's coming back, but I'm not thrilled about it either. As for the coaching staff, I am excited. Look, you aren't going to become a magical new team overnight just because you brought in a new coaching staff, but I'm happy that the Cavs didn't stop by just replacing JB Bickerstaff, but really cleaned out the entire shop. Kenny Atkinson is obviously joining as the new head coach to redirect the offense and hopefully help unlock whatever potential is remaining for this team, but then you also have Johnny Bryant as the new associate head coach when he was one of the leading candidates for the main job during their search earlier this summer. So Bryant has a strong track record in the NBA and a history with Donovan Mitchell, so to me this is another strong pickup. Of course, you also have Damari Carroll, Jordan Ott, and Mike Garrity all entering the fray, and it's just exciting to see the franchise take a new direction like this. We will see how much of a difference this new coaching staff can actually make. A lot of this comes down to the internal growth and development of the Cavs stars, but at least this leaves them with no more excuses, because if things don't change with a new coaching staff, then the writing is truly on the wall, and I can rest assured that the front office explored every final avenue towards maximizing this roster before kicking the tires and making any big changes to the core. And then the last update we have today is something that we've already known for a little while, but it is now officially set in stone. The Cavs have handed out two-way contracts to Emoni Bates, JT Thor, and Luke Travers. And so I actually have full videos on each one of those players already on my channel, and since my thoughts haven't changed that much, I would recommend you just check them out for a full breakdown. But to keep it short, Bates is a promising three-point shooter who has a lot of work to do in terms of developing the rest of his game, but he has so much promise as a shooter that it's hard not to get excited. I'd imagine he is still a few years away from being a rotational player in the NBA, but keeping him on the two-way deal is a low-risk move that could one day pay off. Bringing over Luke Travers is also worth the shot. He actually has a pretty well-rounded game, but the question is, can he do any particular thing at the NBA level? Travers struggles to shoot the ball, which will really limit him, and I'm not too sure if he can create advantages at the NBA level, but if he can break down a defense and create plays for others while being a strong team defender, then Travers has a clear path to playing minutes for the Cavs next season, even though I don't feel too confident about things playing out that way. And finally, JT Thor is the two-way player that I am most excited about. The pitch is pretty simple. He's 6'9", athletic, confident, he can do a tiny bit of everything, and he has actually played minutes in the NBA. Thor's only 22 years old, and I do think he has a chance. It's a chance. Even if it's a long shot, there's a chance that Thor develops into someone who can be in an 8-man playoff rotation. Now, I wouldn't bank on that happening this season or even the next, but handing Thor a two-way deal and getting a closer look at whether or not being a real NBA player is still in the cards for him is the exact type of thing Cleveland should be doing. It doesn't hurt to give him a chance, because if there is any potential there, then the Cavs want to be the ones who reap those rewards. That's everything going on with the Cavs right now. The only thing they have left on their to-do list this offseason is figure out what in the world they're doing with Isaac Okoro, and we will have another update video whenever that finally gets settled. But until then, like I said at the top, please consider hitting subscribe and dropping a like to support my channel. Go ahead and leave a comment with your take on any of the topics I discussed today, and with all that being said, go Cavs!